I want to start with an apology for having been away from YouTube for so long. When I started writing the script for this video, I checked my channel dashboard and it said that my last video was 88 days ago. Ouch. I'd planned to take off most of January, and then February and March just got away from me. I spent the last about half of February trying to get ready for a big retro video game and retro computer swap meet that was held here in Portland. A few other channels like John Riggs and Metal Jesus Rocks have talked a bit about this swap meet, and in fact, there was a quick blip in John Riggs' video where you could actually see my table for a second or two. That was pretty weird for me. This was a super successful event for me. I managed to clear out about an entire Prius load of stuff from my basement. I took one whole really packed Prius load there, and then another fairly packed Prius load, and came back with just one packed Prius load. So that was really great, especially because earlier on in February, and it was actually kind of the tail end of January, I had another very exciting opportunity. I came across a posting from some guy in Bend who had a bunch of Macintosh stuff and was looking for a group or a club that were Macintosh collectors. Myself, I'm not really that into Mac stuff. I can appreciate it, but I am part of a local retro computer club, and there are a bunch of people in that club who are super interested in all variety of Apple stuff, including Macs. So I contacted the guy and we exchanged a few emails, and long story short, Sean from Geek with Social Skills and I, one early one February Sunday, we drove out to Bend for a big Macintosh computer rescue. Bend is a pretty decent drive from Portland, so we started about as early in the morning as I'm willing to get up on a Sunday. I'm not a morning person by any stretch of the imagination, but I can be compelled to get up early when I need to. There's several routes between Portland and Bend, but the most direct is also one of the most scenic. We drove across Mount Hood through Government Pass, and we really lucked out. It was a gorgeous, clear, sunny day the whole route. One thing I've always loved about this particular drive is watching the gradual change in flora as you drive up the mountain, followed by a fairly abrupt change when you get to the other side. The Portland area and the Willamette Valley have a very, very different climate from the other side of the Cascade Mountains. Western Oregon is primarily a soggy, wet rainforest, but Central Oregon is all high desert. And therefore, it's very dry almost all year round. And without a big mountain range to shield it from cold air coming down from Canada, winters are cold. Really, really cold. In early February, when we made this drive, things have started to warm up a little bit, but the average low temperature is still around 27 degrees Fahrenheit. I think the high in Bend the day that we actually drove out there was much closer to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. On the flip side, the summers are hot and dry and sunny by day, with very low temperatures and lots of stars in the sky at night. Remember when I was a kid, I used to love going camping over there because you got to just go out and be hot and have fun, play in the river all day long, and then come inside the tent and wrap up in all the sleeping bags in the whole world at night. Now, I'm not going to do this like, what is it, European Vacation, where you get stuck in that big...
Hey kids, big band parliament.
Yeah.
Keep going around in a circle.
Yeah. Round and around and around and around and around.
Woo-hoo. Great balls of fire.
Right. Okay, now no more mountains in the view until we're on the way back. So, about 3.5 hours later, we arrived at the gentleman's home. And after some introductions and pleasant conversation, we just started loading. Now, he had retired from advertising and public radio work, and the majority of this lot were computers and accessories that had retired from service at those jobs many, many years ago. He just didn't have the heart to send them off to a computer recycler where he knew they would just be melted down for scrap. And, I can definitely appreciate that. I'm going to link in the description to some of his current radio-related projects. He's definitely got some interesting things going on. Some other people, perhaps a little bit closer in his area, had expressed some interest in some of the other computers that people in my club weren't particularly interested in. I know there was at least one Power Mac G4 that wasn't interesting to anyone, so we did leave some stuff behind. Even so, it was a huge load that barely fit in my Prius V, which is the larger of the Priuses. After stopping for lunch in Bend, we got back on the road. Now, I made a big mistake here. I didn't look at the time or think ahead or check Google Maps or any of that smart stuff. So we took the same route back that we came in by, but we should have taken a different route. The problem was, by the time we hit Government Pass, we got stuck in all the traffic of all the people going back to Portland from skiing up on Mount Hood, and it was a giant jam up. There was a while where we would sit for 5 minutes at a time, just not moving. So the trip back, I don't know, took 45 minutes or an hour longer than the trip out. But at least we got, some great views of Mount Hood coming back from a different angle. So, I guess that was nice. This trip was almost 2 months ago now, and the majority of the items have already been redistributed to other people in the local computer club. Even so, I kept quite a few items for myself. Nearly all of these items are going to require some kind of repair. That's why they were retired from service so many years ago. Still, there are quite a few that are likely to appear in future videos. I'm most excited about this computer. The front just says 2X, but the back and the inside both say 2FX. As far as I'm aware, this is the fastest 68030 based computer that Apple ever produced. In addition to having a 40 megahertz 030 and math coprocessor, it has 32K of L2 cache, and it uses special 64-pin SIM memory. The Wikipedia article isn't 100% clear about what it is that makes that memory special, but I'm assuming that it's somehow related to the 030's cache burst mode. I know the Amiga 3000 was able to use special memory for the purpose of the cache burst mode. Now, my goal is to refurbish this system and get it in tip-top condition and load AUX on it. So this system is definitely going to come back in a future video. But that might not be until October-ish for Unixtober. After having basically a 3-month hiatus, I have quite a bit of a backlog of stuff that I want to do. I'm also looking forward to playing around with this Power Mac G5. I believe that it is basically working, but it's been stripped of parts. There's no RAM or video card for sure. My hope is that I can get a video out about this G5 while it's still Macintosh. I have one more day. One more day! So in addition to these systems, there were a ton of SCSI enclosures and various NuBus cards, mostly video cards, processor cards for early Power Macs. Now, I know almost nothing about that vintage of Macs, especially the NuBus stuff, and I can't find very much information online about a lot of these cards. So I'm going to show a few of them, and I'm hoping that some of my loyal viewers will be able to help me out with some information about some of these cards, because I haven't got the foggiest idea what most of them are, other than they're video cards. All right, I'm actually going to start off by not even looking at the video cards or the processors, and I just really quickly want to show. So here's some of the RAM modules. I'm going to bring it closer because that seems more reliable than zooming. So these are, there's 4 1 megabyte 64-pin SIMs for the 2FX. So I'm just going to lay out a bunch of these video cards here and look at them. So I don't know what any of these are. Actually, I take that back. I think that this is a default black and white video card that would have come in a Mac 2 from Apple. That says modem Mac 2 interface Rev B memory plus. So that one I did kind of figure out. But these other 3, I am not at all certain anything about them. This one's got a good pile of memory over here and a bunch of chips. So I'm going to assume it does some kind of acceleration. It's got S-Video out with the regular Macintosh. It'd help if I had it on camera. Regular Macintosh 15-pin, S-Video, and I'm assuming composite? Although that doesn't... I don't know. Not sure. All the chips on it say raster ops. Down here it says colorboard 364, and I did look that up and I could not find really anything that told me anything about it. This one also has a good pile of memory. It just has the regular Macintosh 15-pin video. The one number here is 820-017701A. And all the chips, the 2 main chips on it say Radius, and the ROM chip does say Radius Inc. PC24X V2.0. So I don't know. This one I also looked up. I may have actually found some information about this. And accelerated 24-bit graphics interface. Yeah, this one I did look up and I did find some information about this. But it was the only one. And then this beast, 15-pin Apple Video, and I'm looking at it again. I did not look at this one very closely. So this is also a Macintosh 2 video card. So I'm assuming if this is the monochrome card, this is the color card. I don't know. I haven't looked in the 2FX. I don't know what video card is in it. So I don't know if any of these are the same, as good, better. Like I said, I don't know anything about this stuff. So here's one of the processor boards, and it's kind of a beast. It says 1996 Umax Corp on it. And it has some other numbers, but not anything immediately identifiable. Since it's got a heatsink with a fan, I don't know. Is this a higher clock 604 maybe? Could it be a G3? I don't know. So in comparison, there's this one, which says Max 604 CPU Apple computer. So I'm assuming that this is just the 604 CPU card that would have been in a bunch of systems that they made with 604s. One of the Power Macs over there, I know the default configuration of that is a 604, but what's in it is a beautiful purple PCB. I can't think of the manufacturer of those boards. I'll pop up the text, but it's a G3 accelerator. So I know that that's something special. And these two use very different similar but different edge connectors, so I'm sure they're not compatible with each other, which means I probably don't have a computer that this will actually work with. But this board says 1996 power computing. On the back, it says 200/50, so is this maybe a 200 megahertz something? Now, this looks to have the same edge connector, and they're numbered the same way, 1 to 73 as this. So is this maybe compatible with... I don't know. Did I mention I don't know anything about any of this stuff? So, one other thing that was in that, I grabbed this, and I didn't check to see if the card was in the box. I'm assuming now there was a Power Mac G4 that someone else had wanted, so we left it there because I don't need a Power Mac G4 unless it's got dual processors. But the card isn't in here. I was very surprised that they made a card for Macs based on Trident Blade 3D, which back in the day, I had worked a little bit on the open source Linux driver for this card, the 2D driver, and they're not great. Like, why did someone pick that chip to make a card? I'll never know. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. Yeah, everything's in here except the dang card. All right. If you know anything about any of those NuBus video cards or any of the processor boards or any of that stuff, please don't hesitate to let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe because it really helps grow the channel. And I'm going to stop dilly-dallying, and I'm going to get to work on that Power Mac G5 video. So until next time, remember the good stuff.